Out front now, former White House senior director under President Obama, Nayyera Haq, and Paris Denard, a member of the National Diversity Coalition for Donald Trump. Great to see both of you. So, Nayyera, Donald Trump dissolving his charitable foundation. Good news? Step in the right direction?
Step in the right direction, but it's a little late in the process. I mean, at this point, it's more about the investigation and what has been uncovered. And here's some of the facts that we know already about the foundation and what makes this troublesome in particular. There are only no employees, only 5 people, 4 who are Trump family, 1 part-time volunteer, and only about half an hour per week spent on the foundation, according to IRS records. The same IRS records show that payments were made from the foundation to buy paintings of Donald Trump that are hanging in his own golf clubs, and that he's also paid off some of the losses. So this is not the charitable foundation that I think all people would like to believe. There's really been some questions about what's been going on with the money, and I think the most troubling factor is that the largest donors have about $5 million are the same person that Donald Trump has nominated to be the secretary for the cabinet of Small Business Administration. So there is a concern that this is exactly the pay for play that Trump has been denouncing elsewhere on the road.
So, Paris, I've heard what Nayyera said. I've heard it from other Democrats who are saying that they say this is a step in the right direction, but that this is more of a smokescreen, if you will, that there are bigger problems at play, and not even getting to the other big problem right now, which is the New York Attorney General office says that he can't do anything with this charitable foundation because he's still under investigation. So now what?
Well, I think this whole conversation and whatever Nuri was just saying is it's silly, because the president-elect is closing down the foundation. End of story. Now, if the Attorney General of New York, who I believe is on a political witch hunt, wants to make this thing about politics or make this about justice, he can close this investigation and be done with it. But he's not choosing to do that.
Right, because there's a matter of serious transparency about what's been going on and what exactly where they're following the money. And unfortunately, even with the expression of "I'd like to shut down the foundation," we're 20-something days out from the inauguration, and he's going to be the president of the United States. Between his own financial dealings,
and he said he's going to shut down.
Hold on, Nayyera. He said he's going to shut. Paris, sorry.
He said he's going to shut down the foundation, and which is the right thing to do, as Richard Painter, my colleague when I worked in the Bush White House. But in addition to that, this is problematic to me. The Eric Trump Foundation, which has raised over $20 million to help children with pediatric cancer, using this money to help children with cancer, that's going to be shut down as well. I think that's the right thing to do, but it's setting a dangerous precedent, because what are we going to do? What's next for the liberals who are crying wolf about this? What is next? Should every member of Congress who has a small business, has a car dealership, a pest control company, or a mortuary or whatever, should they have to shut down their businesses? No, they should not. And this is where we've gotten to at this point. Now, there's no evidence of pay for play. There's no evidence of any impropriety with the Trump Foundation or the Eric Trump Foundation specifically, but we did see that with the Clinton Foundation. So, in an abundance of caution, the president-elect is doing the right thing.
The Clinton Foundation is not the point at this point. I mean, Paris, because that went away with the outcome of the election. Nayyera, go ahead.
Well, and this is the unfortunate thing, and all of us who have served in government, who have security clearances, have to go through extraneous vetting of our finances. And that's because there's actual security risk here. Because of our financial dealings, what are we at risk for? There's a security issue, and you don't get a clearance if there's a thought that somebody could either pay you off or use you or bribe you in some way. So if I have to go through that, or junior level staffers have to go through that, then we expect that Trump and his family go through that as well. I mean, they are now public servants. They are not businessmen anymore, and this is
the president-elect is the public servant.
This is the challenge of changing from campaign and moving into government. And anybody who wants to in the Trump family who's planning to have a role in this administration has to do that.
Eric Trump, as far as we know right now, is not going to have a role in the government. But I will tell you, you cited Richard Painter, who I actually interviewed earlier today, Paris, and he actually said, I asked him about the Eric Trump Foundation issue, and he said no member of a family of the president should be allowed to solicit money in the way that they were doing it. Bottom line, it just opens them up to too much conflict of interest concern. That's what Richard Painter says.
It's the perception
is
the issue.
Hold on. You know how they fixed that? And you know how they fixed it? he's shutting it down.
Right.
$20 million raised over the time, he shut it down. So what is the point that we're making here? He's doing the right thing. He's the president-elect, and he's the only public servant that is going to be in the White House, that's going to be serving in the Trump family, that has been announced right now. Anybody else that decides to serve in the government, they will take the necessary courses of action to do what you're supposed to do and to eliminate any propriety or any resemblance of something that is not correct or proper. But until then, they are allowed to do this, just like every member of Congress is allowed to do. What should we have Exxon closed because Rex Tillerson might become will become the Secretary of State? Should he now? We have to close Exxon?
Well, no, but he certainly shouldn't be involved in any. Rex Tillerson should not be involved in any oil deals if Exxon's going to benefit.
Rex Tillerson will deal with his financial. Will have to deal with his financials before he becomes a member of the cabinet, as all members of cabinets do, because there are actual laws for those who serve, not just that are very different from the president, when the laws regarding the president and his financial dealings. Guys, great to see you. Thank you.
At the end of the day, Kate, the president-elect is doing the right thing and shutting these things down, and we should applaud him for his transparency.
Thanks, guys. Great to see you. Thank you so much.